Hello everyone, good morning, especially to you Ma'am Leilani. So we are the group 3. So let me first present ourselves. So my name is Norhana Campio Pendi.
And by the way, my name is Muhammad Intika Nakam.
By the way, I'm Siti Raya Mentingan Handi.
Hello, my name is Siddiq Galil.
My name is Mohalidin S. Muhammad.
Nurhaydin A. Alim.
So our topic is functions and philosophical perspectives on art.
Greek philosopher Aristotle claimed that every particular substance in the world has an end, or telos in Greek, which translate into purpose. Every substance defined as a form of matter. Function of art. When one speaks of function, one is practically talking about the use of the object. Those function is in question. An inquiry on the function of art is an inquiry on what art is for. Alternatively, the answer to the question, what is it for?
Personal and the social function of arts. The personal functions of art are created to express feelings of an artist. An artist may create out of a need for self-expression or gratification. She or he might wanted to communicate thought or point to the viewer. Perhaps the artist was trying to provide an authentic experience both for self and viewer. A piece might have been meant to merely certain others. Sometimes a piece isn't meant to have any meaning at all. So from the word personal, it means it indicates to the feelings or expression or the experience of an artist. So, yan yung isa sa kanilang way para ma-express ang kanilang mga experience through their artworks or art. So, mamaya bibigyan natin siya ng example. So, an artist may create out of a need for self-expression or gratification. She or he might wanted to communicate through or phone to the viewer. So, ibig sabihin, ito din yung way nila para magkaintindihan to communicate to their viewer. Para maintindihan ng kanilang viewer kung ano yung experience. Kasi may mga ilang viewer na kung ano yung dinanas ng kanilang artist, yung mga artist, ganun din dinanas nila. Parang sympathy. Sympathy sa kanila para malaman nila na may mga ilang tao din na mga individual na nakaranas din ng ganung paghihirap o ganung experience sa buhay. So, isa sa mga halimbawa nito ay ang work ni Edvard Munchkin, The Sick Child. The Sick Child is the artist had a tragic childhood. His mother died when he was very young and his sister died when he was 14. This work was very meant to remind viewer of personal family tragedies. So, ito yung larawan kung saan nagpapakita na yung bata na umiyak o yung babae na umiyak sa tabi ng kanyang ina na may sakit. So, gustong iparating ni Edvard Munchkin sa kanyang mga viewer kung gaano kahirap yung kanyang dinanas. So, dinaan niya lang sa kanya or in-express na lang sa kanyang artwork yung kanyang dinanas para maintindihan ng kanilang mga viewer o ng kanyang viewer na dumaan din siya ng ganung paghihirap sa buhay. Ito yung The Sick Child. Okay. The artist was trying, a piece might have been meant to merely certain others. Sometimes a piece isn't meant to have any meaning at all. Minsan, ang hirap din itindihin kasi dahil sa tagal-tagal ng panahon, parang nabago na yung story. No? Kasi, ang karamihan kasi sa mga artwork is, lalo na sa unang panahon, talagang naman ay talagang matanda na. So, ganun yun talaga. Okay, we proceed to the next functions, which is the social function. So, what is the social functions of art? Art has a social function when it addresses aspects of collective life as opposed to one person's point of view or experience. According to Ortiz, art performs as social functions or functions when it seeks or tends to influence the collective behavior of a people. It is created to be seen or used primarily in public situations. It expresses or describes social or collective aspect of existence as opposed to individual and personal kinds of experience. From the word social, kasi nga, it tends to influence the society. Hindi lang isang tao, kundi maramihan or individual yung ma-apekto or may influensyahan ng art, especially sa social. From the word social kasi, it means it tends to influence the people or society. So later, I will give you an example of social functions. It seeks or tends to influence the collective behavior of a people. It is created to be seen or used primarily in public situations. Ilan sa mga halimbawa nito yung mga propaganda ng mga tao para labanan yung kahirapan, lalo na ho sa kanilang pamahalaan sa gobyerno na gusto nilang baguhin kung ano yung nais baguhin sa kanila sa pamamalakad ng pamahalaan na mali ang kanilang pamamalakad. So later, bibigyan natin siya ng sample din. It expresses or describes social or collective aspect of existence as opposed to individual and personal kinds of experience. Ang halimbawa nito ay ang mga editorial cartoons. Hindi na natin siya kailangan ipaliwanag ba kung ano yung nakasulat o nakasaad doon sa article kasi sa pamamagitan ng editorial cartoons nakikita na doon kung ano yung nasa nais nating iparating at nais nating ipaliwanag sa mga namamahala sa kasi kadalasan ito ginagamit talaga sa politics or ideological and politics expressions. Because kasi napapadali yung pagpapaliwanag natin ng mga nais nating o yung mga salubin natin patungkol po dito sa gobyerno. And then later bibigyan din siya ng influence. There are many things influencing social behavior. The one is a pictorial form is very powerful means of putting across a message. Tulad nga ng sabi ko kanina yung editorial picture. Hindi mo na natin siya kailangan kasi napaka-powerful nito Napaka-powerful kasi hindi na natin siya kailangan ipaliwanag yung buong article dahil nandun na sa picture kung ano yung nais natin iparating sa gobyerno. Ang halimbawa nito ito sa tar. Pero ipapaliwan kasi meron din ito siyang ibig sabihin. The second one is a painting. Paintings, photographers, poster, cartoons have been used to express humanitarian concern as well as ideological or political comment. Paintings, photographers, posters, cartoons have been used to express humanitarian concern as well as ideological or political comment. Ito ang isa sa mga halimbawa ng ideological and political expressions or comment. Di ba nakikita natin si Liberty, yung babae na itinaas niya ang bandera ng kanilang labanan noong panahon ng Amerikano at saka ng Pranses. She trying to lead the people to give a dependence to their republics. So ito yung halimbawa ng ideological or political comment or expressions. And then the second one is the satire. So what is satire? Satire which boosts up people and institutions to dedicate so that they will chance is effectively communicated in various cartoons and crickets. So tulad ng kanina sinabi ko, sa tulong ng editorial cartoons or satire, naipapaliwanag na o nai-express natin kung ano yung nais nating ipakita sa gobyerno, lalo ng ganito. Ito yung isa sa mga halimbawa ng satire. Nakikita natin yung isang lalaki na binubuhusan ng pera yung mga tao na isa babaw. Ibig sabihin niya yung mga mahihirap. Pinapakita nito kung gaano kahirap yung dinadanas sa mga mahihirap na mamamayan na pinamumunuan ng mga taong nasa itaas na napaka-corrupted. Ginagamit nila yung pera ng mamamayan para lang sa kanilang mga sarili. Guys, ito po. At minsan din kanina lang nakakita ako ng picture doon sa Facebook na mga tao, may taong nalulunod, tapos maraming mga tao na tumitingin lang at pinipicturean yung babae, yung lalaki, yung tao na nalulunod. So, nagpe-present din siya na people nowadays na ganun na siya. Instead na tulungan yung mga taong nalulunod or sa isang aksidente, kinukuhanan pa siya ng picture at binibidyuhan pa instead na tulungan natin. So, ang daming pagbabago ang nangyayari. So, through the arts or satire, na-express mo natin kung ano nais natin iparating sa publiko and sa society. Editorial cartoons. Ito yung kanina sinabi ko na editorial cartoons na hindi na natin kailangan i-explain pa sa marami kung ano yung nilalaman ng isang article dahil nakikita lang natin, pag nakita na natin yung picture ay nalalaman natin kaagad. So what is editorial cartoons? Editorial cartoons convey the message more directly and clearly than the printed word. Thus, tulad ng sabi ko, mas maganda itong editorial picture or cartoons para directly and clearly to convey the message to the public. Cartoonists comment on the problems or weakness of the society of its leaders with the hope that something is done to correct those faults and improve the human conditions. So, yung isa sa mga halimbawa niyan, no? Parang, sa paraang ito, na ipapakita natin sa namamahala sa atin, especially sa government natin, na yung dapat nilang baguhin kung dapat baguhin. Kumbaga, dapat natin itama kung ano yung dapat itama. Kasi, ang naghihirapan dito yung mga mamamayang nasa ibaba, samantalang nasa itaas ay nagpapakasasa lang sa yaman o sa pera ng bayan. So, yan yung isa sa mga ibig sabi or nais parating ng editorial cartoons in terms of arts, which is social functions. And then, literature. Isa sa halimbawa ng literature ay si Modesto de Castro. He tried to lead the youths sa church para maging isa sa mga mag-spread ng faith nila, especially sa kanilang mga church, and then gagawa sila or kumakanta or halimbawa nito yung mga choirs, no? So, yun. Propaganda literature. Kadalas ito ginagamit ng panahon ni Jose Rizal. So, until now, may mga gumagamit pa rin na mga propaganda. Religion. Religion, kadalasan talaga ginagamit ito sa social. Bakit nga ba ito sinasali sa social function? Kasi may mga ilang religion na gumagamit nito. Halimbawa yung mga ati-atihan, yung mga festivals, yung mga rituals sa kanilang religion. Minsan kumakanta, minsan naman sumasayaw para lang may pahayag yung kanilang o may parating sa kanilang Diyos kung ano yung nais nilang parating or pasasalamat sa kanilang advertising art. Advertising art is talagang common naman sa ating the word advertise. Kumbaga, gusto natin ipaliwanag o ipakilala sa lahat kung ano yung nilalaman ng ating produkto. Napapanood naman natin ito sa TV, and then hindi na natin kailangan ipaliwanag kung ano yung nilalaman ng ating product kasi nakikita naman natin na sa picture pa lang alam na natin kung ano yung nais natin iparating sa ating mga viewer or sa mga customer natin. Kung ano yung anong nilalaman ng contents ng product, anong nilalaman kung ano yung mga good qualities, mga price, no? So, yun siya. So, I hope, inshallah, naiintindihan nyo yung report ko, and kung may mali man sana, tao lang ako kung nagkakamali din. So, thank you so much. And have a good day. I love you. Thank you so much.
My report is all about physical function of art and other function of art. So, physical function of art. The physical function of art are the easiest to spot and understand. The physical function of art can be found in artworks that are crafted in order to serve some physical purpose. A Japanese rakugo that served a physical function in a tea ceremony is an example. Architecture, jewelry making, and even interior design are all forms of art that have physical function. So, physical function of art, pag sinabing physical function of art is this is easiest to spot and understand. Sa madaling salita, ito yung madaling makikita at maintindihan ng parte ng art or artwork na ginagawa upang ito ay maingganyo ang isang maniningin or tumitingin through design. So, just for example of physical function of art is Japanese rakugo. So, Japanese rakugo is ito yung bowl na hinulma ng mabuti at ito yung dinagdagan siya ng disenyo upang manda sa paningin ng mga tao. So, may example na ako ng rakugo. So, ito yung picture ng rakugo. Hinulma siya ng mabuti at dinagdagan ng disenyo upang ito ay maganda sa mga paningin ng mga tao. Yan. At mamimili rin. So, other example of physical function of art is architecture. So, architecture is sila yung nagdidisenyo sa isang bagay na katulad ng bahay na ginuguhit at dinidisenyo ng mabuti para ipakita sa carpenter or kon. So, meron akong picture ng architecture, ginagawa ng architecture. So, architecture. Yan ang ginagawa ng architecture. So, other example of physical function of art is jewelry making. So, jewelry making is ito naman yung mga gumagawa ng mga gold na linalagyan ng disenyo upang maganda sa mga namimili or maganda sa mata ng mga tao. So, meron akong example ng jewelry making. Ito. Some example. So, sa siyang kwentas na linagyan ng disenyo sa ibabaw or ginawa siyang parang diamond. So, yan. Yung mga arites na may mga disenyo. So, yan. Nakapasok yan siya sa physical function of art. So, other interior design is ito naman yung mga physical na sa alimbawa sa pumapasok ka sa isang hotel na bago mo na-spot or bago mo nakita na mga disenyo sa isang hotel or sa room or sa bahay, yun. So, ganito ang iba't ibang example ng physical function of art sa isang bahay na may mga disenyo bago ka pumasok sa isang bahay. Yan. So, this is physical function of art. So, what is other function of art? So, other function of art is music as an art is also interesting to talk about in relation to function. Music is in its original form was principally functional. Music was used for dance and religion, unlike today when one can just listen to music for the sake of music. Sake the unsaid word, so music only as an instrument facilitate worship and invocation. What is other function of art? So, other function of art is music as an art is also interesting to talk about in relation to function. Music is in its original form was principally functional. Music was used for dance and religion, unlike today when one can just listen to music for the sake of music. Sake the unsaid word, so music only as an instrument facilitate worship and in to invocation to gods. Music also was essential to dance because music ensured synchronicity among dancers. Moreover, music also guarantee that marches is the case of warrior were simultation. So, other function of art is ito naman yung mga isang music or isang singer na may ginagamit siyang pang functional of art. Belong siya sa functional of art like sila Justin Bieber, ganyan. May ginagamit silang function of art na para gumanda yung kanilang boses or para maganda yung para maganda yung pagkarinig ng boses nila. So, other function of art na example niya is yung mga yung mga nagsasayaw na through tradition or cultures na halimbawa nito ay yung mga cha-cha and so on and so forth. May example ko dito ng other function of art na ito. Isa siyang tradition or cultures na nagsasayaw at gamit nila ng music na may function of art siya. So, yan. Today, music has expanded its functional coverage. Music is listened to and made by people for the reason were foreign to early civilization. There is now a lot. Example, people compose hymn of love to express feelings and emotionally. Music is also used as wonderful accompaniment to stage plays and motion pictures. Interestingly, a piece of music can mean multitudes of meaning of different peoples are proof that an art music has gone long way. So, today's music expanded. Ito naman yung mga nagko-compose ng mga awit na about para pang express sa feelings. For example, love song, and pang emotionally na kumbaga yung mga sa namamatay na mga singer, mga namamatay tapos inaawitan ng mga pang emotional music, and gumagamit din ito sila ng pang magandang wonderful accompaniment, stage plays and motions. So, other function of art is sculptures. So sculptures on the other hand, and in another functional art has long existed for various purposes. So just like music from the early days of humanity, sculptures have been made by man, most particularly for religion. People erect statues for the divine in the Roman Catholic world. The employment of some sculpture for religion purpose has remained vitally relevant and symbolic. So sculpture is means ito naman yung mga example ng sculpture is yung mga statwa na ginuguhit at piniprinta ng mabuti at may design siya. So, meron akong isang picture of sculpture. So, ito siya. One of picture of sculpture. Yan siya guys. sa siyang statwa na may symbolic. So yan. Sculptures naman, may isang example of sculpture is yung soap na nagdidisenyo sa isang soap. So I have one picture of design. Yan. Soap siya, guys. Soap na ginagawang yan. Soap na may disenyo sa loob at yan. So that's other function of art. So other function of art is nabibilong din dyan yung mga ritualistic. So ritualistic is a symbolic function. In many cultures are in use ritual performances and dances as decoration or symbol while these often have no specific utilitarian motivated purpose. Anthropologists know there's often served purpose that level of meaning particular culture. So pag sinabing ritualistic symbolic functions is ito naman yung mga may isang mga cultures na iba yung pagsisimba nila sa kanilang mga sinisimba, just like born again, yan. Ginagawa nilang yan, belong siya sa other function of art kasi nagsisimba sila na may music or dance na through the religion. So that's all. Yan po ang aking report. So thank you. And
Those art have to be functional, which is tungkulin. While it has been shown that most art are functional, still have there some which are not. The value of the work of art, those on not depends on the functional, but on the work itself. We are saying this na ang isang artwork ay hindi nakadepende sa isang tungkulin. Ito ay nakadepende sa ating sarili. The plays of Aeschylus and the poetry of Robert Frost and Alan Edgar Poe are still counters. By the way, there have some trivia about Aeschylus. Aeschylus was an ancient Greek tragedian. He is often described as the father of the tragedy. Academic knowledge of the genre begins with his work, and understanding of the earlier tragedies is a largest based on the influence from his surviving plays. Ang mga tulang ginawa nila Edgar Allan Poe at Robert Frost ay hanggang ngayon ay kilala. Example of Greek work of art despite their nothing have known function. In those who functional are ascertained of no ever, it is a different story. Sinasabi dito, ang mga iyan na kanilang tungkulin ay ascertained o malinaw. Gayunman, ito ay kakaibang istorya. A functional object cannot be claimed to the beautiful useless. It is can perform its functional sufficient. The philosophical perspective on art. When you say philosophical perspective of art, present the series, the essay of the devoted the two of most fundamental topics of the philosophy of art. Art as imitation. Pluto 2000, in this masterpiece, which is pinakamahusay na manggagawa. The Republic of the particular points the picture of the artist as the imitator of the art of merest imitation. This description o paglalarawan of this idea, Republic of the artist in the Republic, the Pluto metaphysics are the view of the reality. The things in the world are only the copies o kopya, the original internal and the truth entities that can only the fount of the word of form. Human being involved o pinagsisikapan to reach the form of all. all thought this life starting with a formal education in the school, looking for the shadow in the cave, now slowly cloud outside in the behind of real entities of the world. Ang mga tao ay pinagsisikapan nilang to reach the form sa buong buhay nila. Nagsisimula sila sa formal o pag-aaral sa eskwelahan. Looking for the shadow, simula sa paghahanap ng shadow o arm cave, ang mga lalaki ay dahan-dahan silang gumagapang papalabas para mamasdan ang totoong intinidad sa mundo. For example, the chair that one sit on this not a real chair. Sinasabi dito na ang isang bangko ay nakapatong sa isang hindi totoong bangko.
Ang topic natin is about art as a representation. Now, Aristotle, Plato's most important student in philosophy. Si Aristotle ay ang pinakamahalagang estudyante ng Plato sa isang philosophy. Agreed with his teacher that art is a form of imitation. However, in contrast to the disgust that his master holds for art, Aristotle considered art as an aid to philosophy in revealing truth. Si Aristotle ay sumang-ayon na rin sa kanyang guro ng sining ay isang lihim ng imitasyon. Gayunpaman, sa kaibaan sa pagkasuklam na ang kanyang master ay nagtataglay ng art Aristotle na itinuturing na ang art bilang tulong sa filosofiya sa pagbubunyag ng katotohanan. The kind of imitation that art does is not antithetical to the reaching of fundamental truths in the world. Ang uri ng imitasyon na ang art ay hindi antithetical sa pag-abot sa mga pangunahing katotohanan sa mundo. Talking about tragedies, ang pakikipag-usap tungkol sa mga trahedya. Like example, Aristotle, 1902, in the Word Poetics claimed that poetry is literary representation in general. Ang sabi dito, sa example na to, si Aristotle, since 1902, sa mga tula ay nag-claim na ang tula ay isang panitikang representasyon sa pangkalahatan. To other art forms, poetry only a means of an attempt to represent what things might be. For Aristotle, sa iba pang anyo ng sining, ang mga tula ay nagtatanggol lamang ng mga isang pagtatangka na kumatawan sa kung ano ang maaaring maging para sa Aristotle. All kinds of art, including poetry, music, dance, painting, and sculpture, do not aim to represent reality, as it is what art endeavors to do is to provide a vision of what might be all the myriad possibilities in reality. Meaning to say, pwede mong ilabas ang nararamdaman mo o ang katotohanan gamit ang music, dance, painting, and sculpture. For example, music. Ang kanta ni Freddie Aguilar, yung Anak. Maraming taong natamaan gamit ang kanta niya, pero yun yung katotohanan. Pangalawa, dance. Pwede mo rin ipakita din ang nararamdaman mo. Magsayaw ka, yung mga emotional na sayaw. Pangatlo, painting. Pwede kang mag-drawing ng mga nararamdaman mo. And pangapat, sculpture. Pwede kang mag-design ng mga sadness, mga happiness, ganun. Okay, next. In the Aristotle worldview, art
serves to particular purposes. First, art allows for the experience of pleasure. Experiences that are otherwise repugnant can become entertaining in art. For example, a horrible experience can be made an object of humor in comedy. Secondly, art also has ability to be instructive and teach its audience think about life. Thus, it is a cognitive as well. Greeks plays are usually of this nature.
Art as communication of emotion. The author of War and Peace and Anna Karenina, Leo Tolstoy provided another perspective on what art is. In his book, What Art Is 2016, Tolstoy defended the production of the sometimes truly extravagant art like operas despite extreme poverty in the world. So, opera mostly present in stage. It is most likely presenting their experience and they shown too much. Opera is also like a theater. Have you seen the Miss Saigon portrayed by Miss Salea? The emotion there was too much, especially when the son of Miss Leia Salonga was killed by his father. For him, art plays a huge role in communication. It is audience emotion that the artist previously experienced. Art then serves as a language, a communication device that articulates feeling and emotion that are otherwise unavailable to the audience. In the same way, language communicates information to other people. Art communicates emotion in listening music, in watching a opera, and in reading poems. The audience is at the receiving ends of the art, communicating his feeling and emotion. Tolstoy is fighting for the social dimension of art. As a purveyor of man's innermost feeling and thoughts, art is given a unique opportunity to serve a mechanism for social unity. Art is central to man's experience because it makes accessible feelings and emotion of people from past to present, from one continent to another. In making this possibly talent, feeling, and emotion accessible to anyone in varied time and location, art serves as mechanism of cohesion for everyone. Those even at present, one can commune with early Cambodians and other struggles by visiting at the Angkor Wat or definitely feel for the early royalties of different Korean dynasty by watching Korean dramas. Art is what allowed for this responsibility. In this explanation of Tolstoy's, sinasabi lang dito na ang art lang ay ang may kakayahan upang mailabas natin yung mga iniisip or yung mga saloobin natin. Oo, art lang yung merong unique communication na meron tayo. Kasi nga, in social media, parang normal lang din naman halimbawa, pag maglalabas tayo ng saloobin natin, i-chat lang or ipopost. But art is very unique. Bago tayo makapaglabas ng saloobin o yung mga nararamdaman natin, kailangan nating magbuhos ng effort, which is halimbawa pagdodrawing, di ba? Or di kaya yung mga pagkakanta. Kailangan dapat pag kumanta tayo is maganda talaga ang boses natin. Or sa pamamagitan din ng art, nalalaman natin kung ano yung mga experience ng yung mga sinauna, like for example yung sa mga Revolution of Man, 'di ba? Meron tayo sa meron silang picture sa mga books, or di kaya naman is yung mga wars, may mga picture din. Tapos or di kaya yung mga ginagawa ng artist na nagpe-paint sila about sa mga experience nila dati. Naman sa representation ng continent by continent, nalalaman natin siya through watching their own movies. Like for example, yung sa Korea, nalalaman natin yung kung ano yung mga patakaran nila kasi nga meron silang mga movies. Like for example, yung sa mga royalties, which is they have king and queen. And sometimes, sa pag-share ng kung anong meron tayo, yun ay isa sa mga nagiging responsibilidad natin. That's all. Thank you. So, yun na nga. But then, let me summarize it all. So, according nga sa kaklase natin rather, ang sabi niya doon is, Greek philosopher Aristotle claimed that every particular substance in the world has end or telos in Greek word means purpose. So, syempre, lahat ng art is may katapusan. Kagaya nga lang nung mga sinaunang tao, which is the revolution of man. So, sinasabi doon na ang first na ginamit nilang communication is art, which is drawing. So, syempre, lumilipas ang panahon, natapos yung ganong sistema ng communication nila. So, syempre, oo nga, di ba, may end. So, ang purpose noon is to communicate. So, ganon. So, according to Aristotle too, is every substance defined as form matter moves according to fixed part toward its aim. So, ang halimbawa dito ni Aristotle is kapag daw nagtanim tayo, so may katapusan yon at may purpose din yon. So, ang katapusan nun is kapag na-fulfill natin yung gusto natin. Halimbawa, ang gusto natin dun sa itinanim natin is bumunga ng maayos, 'di ba? So, kapag natupad yon, so yun na yung end. So, ang purpose nun naman is halimbawa kapag yung tinanim natin is nagbunga halimbawa ng apple, so nakain natin. So, yun yung purpose niya. So, let's proceed to the function of art. So, when we say function of art, ito ay tumutukoy sa tungkulin ng isang art or nagbibigay ng mga sagot sa mga katanungan kung para saan nga ba ang art. Like, for example, the monument of Dr. Jose Rizal. So, the monument of Dr. Jose Rizal is a pure sentimental value. So, nagbibigay lamang, kumbaga parang ipinapakita lang dito yung pasasalamat natin sa pagiging bayani niya at sa pagsagip sa Pilipinas. So, function of art, tumutukoy din ito sa mga object na bumubuo sa art. Like for example, yung sa mga building. So, ang gumagawa noon is yung mga architect. So, ang personal function, ito yung mga kadalasan ginagamit ng mga tao upang mailabas ang kanilang mga nararamdaman. Number 2 is social function of art. Art is considered to have social function if and when it addresses a particular collective interest as opposed to a personal interest. One of the example of social function of art is political art because it has a social fund. And another example are those spoken poetry. Number 3 is physical function of art. This art is the most easiest to spot and understand. It is also can be found at artwork that are crafted in order to serve some physical purpose. Isa sa mga halimbawa nito is architecture, jewelry making, interior design, and of course, utilitarian items. And also the other function of art is referring to a music, which is also part of a art. Music is originally formed as principally foundational. Music also used to dance and of course in religion, especially yung sa mga mass ng mga Christians. So let's now proceed to the philosophical perspective of art. So number 1 is art as an imitation. So a particular paints a picture of an artist as imitator and art as mere imitation. So, ang halimbawa nito is mga sculpture na mga ginagawa ng mga artist. So, halimbawa nito is yung picture na yan, tapos nagiging ganyan. So, it's like more, nagtitrace sila ng mga picture para magaya nila yung isang art. Isa sa mga halimbawa is yung mga architecture, 'di ba? Nagdo-drawing muna sila ng mga designs, tapos binibigay sa engineer, tapos yun yung ginagawang bahay or di kaya buildings. So number 2 is art as representation. So according to Aristotle, yung mga art daw na nakikita like dancing, painting, singing, kahit anong art pa man siya or performance na nakikita is present as art as representation. Kasi nga, kaya nga sinabing art as representation kasi nga nakikita natin siya, nahahawakan natin siya. And also nape-present. So number 3 is art as disinterested judgment. So according to Immanuel Kant, on his Critical of Judgment, consider the judgment of the beauty, the cornerstone of art, as sometimes can be the universal despite of subjectivity. Mr. Kant recognized that judgment of beauty is subjective. However, even subjective judgment are based on some universal criterion for the said judgment. So, ang sinasabi dito is, ang art daw is, kumbaga, dapat, so sinasabi dito na in every art, they are critiqued or examined by the other arts. Kumbaga, tinitingnan kung ano nga ba talaga yung value ng art or di kaya kung ano nga ba talaga yung meaning ng art. And for the last but not the least, art as communication of emotion. So, ang art as communication of emotion, ito naman yung art kung saan nakakapaglabas tayo ng ating mga sama ng loob, or nararamdaman natin yung mga emotion ng artist.